Hello everyone, Ladislas Maurice from thewanderinginvestor.com. So today I'm in Ukraine. I've been spending approximately 10 days going around Kyiv, looking at real estate, meeting with agents, meeting with fund managers, with other investors, and also with my lawyer, Leonid, here. And I know that for a lot of people, investing in Ukraine seems very risky, very exotic. The yields are attractive, but people are a bit worried. But the reality is, if you have a good lawyer, you can, in most places in the world, are investable if you have a good lawyer to support you through the process. So today with Leonid, I'm going to ask him a few questions about the process for buying real estate as a foreigner in Ukraine, and as well some tricks and some things that you should know before going ahead with the transaction here. So Leonid, how are you?
I'm okay. Thank you, Ladislav, that you introduced.
Please tell us about just the process in terms, so let's say I'm a foreigner,
Okay.
I come to Ukraine, I want to buy an apartment in Kyiv as an investment to rent out.
Okay.
I reach a deal with a seller, we agree, okay, the price of the apartment is this much, I want to go ahead. I contact you and I say, Leonid, I need you to help me with this transaction. What is the process?
Okay. So first of all, you need to get Ukrainian ID number. It's tax number. Without it, you cannot conclude the contract of buying the flat. So we need 3 work days for it, and it costs $100. It's not too much. After it, you choose the flat, and especially you need to make legal investigation of this flat. Some families they registered their children, and it's a problem when you purchase this flat. If you purchase this flat with the children who was registered, so they have a permission to live in this flat or house. So these owners, they need to move their registration of their children to another place, and they for doing it they need a special. They need to go to authority, get a permission, and only after it they can do it. So it's very important. Also,
what happens, for example, if, like as a foreign investor, that's the sort of thing. If like you didn't tell me, for example, I would know that children that are registered in the apartment need to get unregistered. Like what would be the consequence if I just buy the apartment, the kids for whatever reason are still registered? What could happen?
I think that if you have a good lawyer, he will tell it about at the first. And the second, if you do it without lawyer, in your risk, if you want to spend a little money, but you like a very huge risks, so you can do it without this investigation. But I hope that notary will tell it to you that there is a registration of children. I hope they tell you about it, and after it you should be very.
So what would happen, for example, if I were to buy an apartment? There are children that are still registered, and no one tells me about it.
We need to understand what does registration mean. It means that this person who are registered in this flat have a permission to live. He have no permission of, he have no ownership, yes, but he can live. He can open the door, I don't know, sit on your kitchen and say, you see, this is my registration, so I have permission to leave it. If you call police, they say, oh, sorry, it's your problem.
So you can live in the apartment, but like the kid has to live with you.
Yeah, kids live, but they won't be only kids. I think that the parents can do it. Of course, it's not a real situation, but according to the law, it's okay.
Okay.
Of course, you can go to the court. You can sue them and put their registration off. But you will spend a lot of time, money for lawyers. So you should do it before.
Okay. So, great. So you do background research on the property.
Yeah.
So that entails looking who is registered at the property, any other, what else do you look for when you do due diligence on a property?
It can be depth of utilities that people don't pay, for example, for light, for water, or something. You need to investigate. Also, we need to take a look for owners, because, for example, it was a couple of people, yes, husband and wife, and they divorced, yes, but they didn't. But they have no court decision or no agreement of this flat. They bought, for example, they bought it when they marriage, and according to the law, this flat belong to husband and wife. Even if this flat in documents, the owner of this flat is, for example, husband, but this flat was buying in period of their marriage. So this flat is belong to husband and wife. And when you go to the notary, you cannot see the wife, yes. But after when you purchase it with flat, wife could understand that she lost money and she can sue you and say no, you cannot have all the flat because half of this flat is mine, and I didn't conclude the contract of selling you flat.
Okay, so it means that the former wife also needs to sign.
Yes, we need to understand. We need
and
to
if
get
there was a prenuptial agreement between the husband and the wife, saying that whatever assets after marriage were separated, would this be good enough, or would she still need to sign?
I can open secret how I do it. I take a look for the date of concluding the contract of buying this flat, and I get information or documents about their marriage. Is this person who is the owner of this flat was in marriage or not? If was, so we need a permission of another partner that he gives the permission to conclude the contract for the first owner. So we need to do it.
Great. So you check for who's registered in the apartment. You
Yes.
check the marriage history of the person selling.
Yes. Debts.
Debts, utility
Debt.
debts that are linked to the apartment.
Yes.
Property debts as well. Property tax debts.
No, it's not. Even if previous owner does not pay a tax, real estate tax, it's okay to conclude the contract.
It's his problem.
Yes.
Okay. And mortgages and liens and lawsuits
It can
linked
be.
to the
Yes.
property?
Yes.
Is it hard to find?
No, this type of work is doing by notary. He have all this register and he can check there is any maybe bank can close a deal or something. So he will check it.
Do you also double check what the notary
Yes, he
does?
can do. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And in terms of taxes, what taxes do buyers have to pay when they buy? Like notary fees and etc.
Yes. He need to pay 2% of amount of this sum. It's first one person it's pension fund fee, yes, fee of pension fund, and another it's fee of registration of this flat.
Okay.
And also you need to pay to a notary
Okay.
of making this deal.
So overall, what are the percent? The percent, approximately what, 2.5%?
You need to pay 2% from amount,
Yes.
and you need, I don't know, pay from 5,000 grivna till 10,000 grivna to notary.
Okay. So
It depends on the notary of his list of price and so on.
okay. So yeah, nothing excessive for the
No,
notary. Okay. So also a very important point that people need to understand when investing in Ukraine is the money flows. So if you speak to agents and developers and even some lawyers, they'll tell you, oh yes, no problem, you can send the money directly to the seller's account or potentially even through the notary, no problem. And they're right. You'll be able to do this, you'll be able to to buy the property, no problem, you'll be able to rent it out. But then in 5-6 years time or whenever, when you decide to sell, you'll sell the property and then you'll get the money in your Ukrainian account if you have one, and the bank will ask you, okay, how did you get the money into Ukraine.
Source of origin, yes.
What's the source of origin? And if you didn't funnel, I think you can explain this.
Yes. You know, we live in such in such time when we need to prove where we get this money. So if you invest in Ukraine, you should have ID. You should open in a bank. You should open a special investment account. Put money on this account. It will be transferred from United States dollars to Ukrainian hryvnia, and then this money you transfer from your account to account of the buyer, the seller, yes, and you got the property. When you decide to sell this property, you also need this account. You need to sell. You will sell this property. You will get money on your investment account, and then you can transfer it to pay taxes, and then you can transfer it to your country.
And this is really important because I see it all the time on like Facebook groups here in like expats in Kyiv, expats in Ukraine, with foreigners that bought real estate in Ukraine. They sell the property. They have hryvnias sitting in their Ukrainian account, and the bank is saying, no, we can't transfer the money abroad because you didn't go through the right process initially when purchasing the property. So then they're ending up having to pay guys to try to get the money out, or they're buying Bitcoin and then trying to get that Bitcoin back into money and their bank accounts in their own countries, which can work. But it's just going to raise so many red flags along the way, and it's going to cost you quite a bit in terms of transaction costs. So, and you don't know how the world will evolve. So make sure, follow Leonid's advice. Make sure to follow the right process to get the money into Ukraine. Get that investment account and funnel the funds this way.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
If you're planning to get this money back, so you should do it legally. If you in a legal way, of course you're right. You can get this money under Bitcoin and so on, but there is a risk that the tax authority in your country will know it, and you will have some issues or problems.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure to follow the rules when it comes to this. And you do the contracts in both Ukrainian and English, correct?
Usually it's you mean contract of buying?
Yeah, the selling or the contracts.
Usually it's doing in Ukrainian language, and we take a translator who translate all the item of this contract, and we can make translation in another list, but we won't do it on 2 pages. If you want, we can do it. But usually not dislike it. They like only Ukrainian language.
Okay. And again, this is important for banking back home, wherever you're from, because if you decide to send $150,000 to Ukraine, for example, you can be sure that the compliance department in your country, in your bank, will ask you questions. They'll freak out, oh, why are you sending money to Ukraine, that much money? And then if you give them a contract in Ukrainian, that won't cut it. So you will need a contract in English as well to be able to transfer the money from your bank to Ukraine.
Yes.
Great, fantastic. Leonid, thank you. So if you
Thank
want
you.
to learn more about Leonid, you can look at the link below in the description. There's also his email. You can get in touch with him anytime if you have a real estate transaction in Ukraine. He's done many for foreigners, so he knows how it works. And also if you have any other legal matters, residency, immigration, and company formation, he can help you with this.
If
as well.
you need a LLC in Ukraine to work, to have a business in Ukraine, we do it also here in Ukraine. It's very fast, very easy. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe not only the property you will do in Ukraine. Maybe you will have some business.
Yeah, and then we'll do another video together on how to obtain residency in Ukraine for those that would want to move to beautiful Kyiv, for example. All right, Leonid, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Hi guys, my name is Leonid. I'm Ukrainian lawyer. I provide services with properties in Ukraine and resident documents. Also, I've created a charity fund to help people from poor families get IT education, have some food, and help them to employ. 10% from all income I spend for this fund. So I invite you to order my consultation and join me to this charity project. See you!